Marko here from Fair Realty, Victoria, BC. Today I'm going to talk about, are we on the brink of a real estate market crash where we see substantial downward price pressure in Victoria? A lot of negativity out there in the media in terms of high inventory, slow sales. And I've discussed some of these things on my YouTube channel, but it's important to differentiate a difficult market for sellers and major price corrections. And I'm going to put some of those things into perspective today. Is it a difficult market right now? It is. For example, heading into July and August, we'll probably hit 4,000 active listings. That's going to be a 10-year high in Victoria. Sales are probably going to continue to be well below a 10-year average. We'll probably have 500, 550 sales in July and August. So that means in July and August, out of the sellers that are on market, 7 out of 8 are not going to be successful in selling their property. It's a difficult seller's market. However, in my 15 years of selling real estate in Victoria, I've seen much tougher markets where we did not see substantial price correction. So let me post the numbers here on the side of the screen. So first of all, for this year, for the month of May, we ended with 3,716 active listings, 10-year high, 758 sales. That is well below a 10-year average. But earlier in my career, 2011, 2012, 2013, we were running between 48 and 5,000 listings for years on end on much lower sales. For example, in 2011, we only had 572 sales in the month of May. Those are way worse market metrics. Those were tough years. And I was doing a lot of business back then. I think in 2013, I sold 73 properties. Even though I was selling a lot, also at the same time, half of my listings would expire. People would opt not to sell, not to move, or they would rent their properties. Really, the only people that set pricing back then were very motivated sellers. And that was usually in relation to death, family estates, divorce, job transfer. People that didn't have to sell simply didn't sell. So despite very high inventory back then and slow sales, I'm going to put the pricing here on the side of the screen. The pricing did not budge that much. I've also put years before 2011 and after 2013 just to put things into perspective. So 2010, prices went up approximately 8.5%. Then 2011, 12, and 13, prices went down a bit. The most they dropped was in 2011 at 2.55%. But it wasn't a crash. It was basically prices going sideways. By the time we got 2000 to 2015, prices went up 6.6%. Then 2016 up 16%. 2017 up 14%. 2018 up 5%. So even though we had 3 years of slight downward price pressure, if you held in there as the seller, you saw some massive gains from 2015 to 2018. What's my point? My point is, for there to be substantial price pressure, the market metrics would have to get substantially worse even from here. We'd probably have to go up to over 5,500 active listings. Sales would have to drop below 600 for the month of May. In the summertime, seasonally, things change a bit. But despite it being a very difficult market, specifically for sellers, it would have to get a lot worse before we see substantial pressure on prices. And that is when I do my monthly updates, why you see I'm talking about a 10-year high in active listings, slow sales. But when I get to the pricing, specifically the single family home median, it's been relatively flat within a certain range for years now, despite difficult market conditions. So I would not bet on a substantial market crash in Victoria personally, because as I've said, I've seen much worse markets sustained for many years with prices not going anywhere. What I'm really anticipating is more of a sideways drift going forward. And that sideways drift can sometimes last many years, so 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, while incomes catch up, maybe interest rates go a bit lower. While affordability improves, but it's unlikely that affordability is going to improve substantially through major price corrections and then downward direction. That's it for this week. Marko, Juras, Fair Realty.